Welcome to Persecution Report. It's been months since the interim government of Nobel laureate Dr. Muhammad Yunus took control, promising reform, integrity, and a new Bangladesh cleansed of corruption and cronyism. The rhetoric sounds inspiring, but behind that carefully crafted narrative, a different story may be unfolding. On campuses across the country, the echoes of protest have vanished, not because the youth have found peace, but fear has found them first. According to multiple reports, hundreds of student leaders, many affiliated with the Bangladesh Chhatra League, the student wing of the former ruling Awami League, are being suspended, expelled, and quietly targeted. Some have fled dormitories, others have others are missing, and a growing number whisper of raids, intimidation, and a chilling message: the old order must vanish by any means. What's unfolding on these campuses isn't just about politics, it's about power, identity, and the soul of a generation caught in the crossfire of so called reform. Once hailed as the birthplace of Bangladesh's democratic movements, universities now resemble control zones where silence is safety and loyalty determines your fate. The government calls this a necessary step, a move to rid institutions of corruption, nepotism, and political violence. But critics say what's happening looks far less like reform and far more like a purge. Former activists tell us that justice has become selective. Student organizations once aligned with the previous government are being dismantled, while others sympathetic to the new regime operate with quite immunity. On paper, it's called disciplinary reform. In reality, it's a crackdown that threatens to erase not just individuals, but an entire political identity. Many ask, how does a movement that began in the name of transparency now breed fear among the very youth who represent the nation's future? Tonight, on the persecution report, we go beyond the headlines to uncover the truth behind the Yunus regime's campaign against student organizations. We speak with insiders, activists, and observers who paint a troubling picture of control, one that questions whether the promise of a new Bangladesh is being built on the ruins of its youth. Stay with us because understanding this movement, this so called reform, may be the only way to understand where Bangladesh goes next. I am Saifur Rahman. Today we are joined by Saddam Hussain, President of Bangladesh Chhatra League, Dr. Billah, a distinguished academic, and my co host, Mr. Jihan. Let me turn to Mr. Jihan now, who will walk us through what's been happening in Bangladesh in reality. Jihan, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman, for inviting me today. Welcome to the Persecution Report, Professor Billah and Mr. Hussain. Many thanks for both of your time. Academia is supposed to be a sacred place, a place where new thoughts flourish, a place of growth and light. However, since the July massacre, darkness has descended upon the academia of Bangladesh. Millions of students tied to the Student League are facing inhuman situation. It all started with the July massacre, when a bunch of infiltrators hiding their true identities rained hell upon Bangladesh by causing internal sabotage. See, Bangladesh Student League is all about education, peace, and prosperity. These infiltrators try to turn the citizens against the Student League, whereas in reality, the Student League was always in sync with any logical demand of the students, be it quota reform or improving the educational life of the students. Many students were deceived into believing the Student League was against them, when in reality, it was the infiltrators who never wanted anything meaningful for the students. After this unconstitutional regime took over, in a shocking and highly illegal manner, they banned the largest student political organization of Bangladesh, the Student League. In a blink, millions were left without their constitutional rights. They cited the Anti-Terrorism Act to justify their decision. The Student League is in fact a threat to terrorists, to fundamentalists, and to the anti-Bangladesh, anti-71 forces. They never were, are, or will be a threat to society. This decision was made so that they can crack down on the Student League. And so they did. From hypocritical disciplinary actions to murders, they are committing all the crimes, all sort of crimes, to break the morale of millions associated with Bangladesh Chhatra League. From Dhaka University to Premier University, students are left without their academic rights. In a sweeping move, various universities are suspending hundreds of thousands of students associated with BCL. In Dhaka University this March, 128 students were suspended without any justification, simply because they are associated with Bangladesh Student League. And very recently, fairly recently, Dhaka University has sent a show cause letter to 403 Student League activists and leaders. It is a formality to very violently destroy the academic future of these students. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Hussain will have a lot to add to this. In March, Kuwait suspends 19 students involved with Chhatra League for so-called disciplinary violations and their so-called involvement with the July massacre. Jahangirnagar University suspended 289 Bangladesh Chhatra League members back in March, and they continue their illegal crackdown to this very day. In August this year, JU expelled 110 students while revoking the certificates of 79 Bangladesh Student League activists. So when they are failing to suspend, they are even taking away what these students have achieved, have acquired throughout their academic life. And this is just a picture of suspension, of expulsion that are happening without any justification. And they're trying to undo all the achievements of the students in their academic career. And when they fail to crack down formally, they are resorting to their other tool of suppression, the mob violence. We have never seen such culture in Bangladesh before. Never. We have seen Masood's brutal, tragic fate. Abdullah al Masood, a former student of Russia University and a student league member, was killed mercilessly when he went to buy medicine for his newborn baby. This incident is really heart-shattering. This gentleman previously lost his leg from a brutal attack by the Shibir, and he had nothing to do with politics, simply nothing. He is a former student league leader, and he was killed. And then we have seen the Jahangirnagar University Student League leader, Shamim, who was killed mercilessly in a similar fashion by mob in front of the law enforcement, in front of their silent watch. When they are failing to find the student league activists, they are turning to their families. Even terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda or their activists in Bangladesh, they never go after the families, as far as we know. But this Yunus regime is not sparing even the families of the student league members. A mother of a student league member in Panchagor, while she was offering her Esha prayer, she was offering her prayer, a group of terrorists, they came and hacked her to death. Female student leaders, they are facing even more inhuman torture. It all started from July. We have seen how the female activists of Student League were humiliated, tortured, and kicked out from the Dhaka University campus. Then we remember and we have seen Nodi of Bangladesh Student League and Shima from Chittagong and their tragic fate. They were arrested for no reason without any justification in fabricated murder charge. While all this is happening, there are some chilling discovery that is being made about infiltrators. Infiltration from Shibir into the Student League wing. Kader, a DU convener of the Bangladesh Ganatantrik Chhatra Sanshad, he recently alleged that Shibir activists in DU various Dhaka University halls, they penetrated the Student League wings and they were even more brutal to prove their allegiance to the Student League and hide their true identity. And the Shibir so-called Daksu guy, Sadiq Kayem, he dismissed this narrative, saying that this is false. But this is not false. We have seen the fate of Abrar Fahad and many others like that. And those incidents were not done by Student League because Student League is all about light, all about prosperity. Those were the infiltrators from Shibir, so we would love to hear about that more from Mr. Hussain. And as you all can see, in academia of Bangladesh, there is no light today, no light. Millions are left without their academic rights, and the international community must pay heed because these students are the future. They are the future of Bangladesh. They are the future leader of Bangladesh, and their rights should be protected. Back to you, Mr. Rahman.
Thank you, Jihan. Thank you for putting lights on what's happening in Bangladesh. The news that don't come outside of the country. Now, I would like to ask Saddam, how would you describe the current situation for Bangladesh Chhatra League members in Bangladesh or outside the world?
For having me. It's a pleasure to be here and warm greetings to my fellow guests and the viewers. You have already mentioned the ongoing situation in Bangladesh. In the last cases, more than 400 students were asked to have their, that show cause to answer their show cause notice. They said the university if they do not reply, they will permanent expulsion. So this is the situation, and if you was the show cause notice in a legal sense, you can watch their loopholes, and you can see it clearly that this is clearly a climate of fear in the educational institutions. This is total collapse of academic freedom in the educational institutions actually, and it is actually state-sponsored terrorism, state-sponsored atrocities. And in the show cause notice, you know that there are no specific allegation of the students. There are no, that there is no mention of the provisions of the legal basis of which the students have been violated. There is violation of, that there is violation of the administrative and legal basis of the situation. And not only in Dhaka University, all over Bangladesh, more than it is about 500,000 students, more than 5 lakh students they are currently unable to join educational students to have their classes, to go to exams, and more than 10,000 students certificates have been cancelled totally. And there are other cases, thousands of students, that there are baseless cases against them. They were victim of mob attacks, violence against them. So this is the situation. And in the last year, October 23rd, Bangladesh Students League, the historic students organizations, the most prominent, most ancient, and students organizations whose ideals are, that to have a democratic, secular society, and which the students organizations who played vital role in our language movement, in our independence movement, and also after liberation war to fight against the military dictatorship, to fight against terrorism, fundamentalism. And these students organizations, the largest students organization of Bangladesh, it has become unlawful by the Anti-Terrorism Act in October 23rd last year. So this is also a clear violation of our constitutional right, and also according to the international law, whether it is International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, that there is provision of freedom of expression, freedom of fair trial, and also International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. To that law, section 13, right to education. So everything has been violated in the current situation. It became such a country. It is a country of no students, because the government is sponsoring this sort of activities. They are stripping the rights of the students, and they are violating the academic freedom of the educational institutions. And there is you can tell it a tacit approval or one sort of active endorsement from the government side. Actually, there are events of mob lynching, there are events of gender-based violence. So this is the overall picture of Bangladesh in the present situation. And not only the the higher educational institutions. If you see the statistics of a higher secondary school certificate examination, the participant of the HSC examinee has been decreased, and one of the reasons is political, for their political affiliation or their family's political affiliation. They couldn't take part in the HSC examination. So this is the situation. And also for just being a member of students organizations, or having own political belief, or just because simply that expressing their view, after graduating from the universities, they see for job, and after completing all sort of examinations, they have joined the civil service or other government jobs. And just for being a member of Bangladesh Students League, so just for being affiliated with Bangladesh Students League, their job has been cancelled. So without any legal basis, without any due process, without following the right to hear, or without having a fair, that investigation. So this is the situation of Bangladesh right now, and it is rare in the world, I can say, because even where there is civil war, where there is there is instability in any country, there is no such sort of vast cases where students are that they do not have their educational right, they do not have their fundamental right or constitutional right. So it is a rare case, and also the political rights of the students, the right to assembly, uh, right to protest, or right to the freedom of expression, everything is violated. The only freedom right now in Bangladesh, that you have to support the government, otherwise you have no legal right, you have no constitutional right, no fundamental right. The government can do whatever it wants. So I think the characteristics of Bangladesh, the characteristics of the educational institutions presently, it it reflects actually a fascist state. Every sort of characteristics prove that the state right now in Bangladesh, it is totally undemocratic, it is totally unconstitutional, and it is totally suppressing the citizens actually.
Yeah, thank you, Saddam. Thank you. What we are hearing from uh, everyone in the country, and today we have already came to know in detail from Jihan and Saddam, which are very disturbing. And now I would like to go to Dr. Billah. As an academic, what's your independent assessment of what's happening in campuses? Mr. Billah, over to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and it has been such a pleasure and privilege to find myself on the same platform, having Saddam Hussain, one of our brightest student political figure, as well as my co-presenter Anwar, Sadat, Jihan, and of course Saifur, Rahman, Mishu, you yourself. Thank you very much. We are standing on the eve of a very important, significant day in the march to democracy, Nur Hussain Day today. So let me convey the greetings of the day, and probably we want to revow our commitment to reassess and question to ourselves how we can restore democracy once again. Now, I have heard Saddam, and I found his intervention quite balanced, and that has lessened my responsibility a bit. What we are witnessing is a very difficult, and I would say it is a painful transition. After every political change in Bangladesh, we see that the universities often become the first testing ground for power and loyalty, kind of loyalty testing. To what extent the universities and their administrations can express their loyalty to the power, right? They can surrender their independence to the governmental power. And this time it looks less like the rhetoric of reform and more like a rooting out policy, I would say, because Jihan's statistics usually portray that picture, that it is a rooting out policy carried out in the name of reform. And the picture shows that hundreds of students, not only students, you have also shown that the employees, teachers, academics like myself, most from belonging to one political ideology, they are being denied access to classes, dormitories, exams. Well, any violence, any breach of law must be, of course, punished, but punishment must be lawful. must be impartial. The current pattern shows a clear, I would say, institutional bias, where university administrations have acted under political pressure rather than educational responsibility. As a result, the disciplinary actions which has been claimed to have taken, they have caused deep harm, not only to the student individual, but also to their families. So the real goal should have been accountability. Accountability with what? With fairness, not revenge as has been portrayed. Now, if you ask me whether they are legally acceptable, Saddam has pointed out rightly to what extent they are legally sound. I would mention 3 points. Firstly, students identified with Chhatra League were prevented from attending classes and exams, often by groups from the rival student organizations. I have seen it by myself, that at the very outset, I mean, the students were being denied without any kind of, that was a sweeping denial of attending classes and exams. So this shows a clear failure of the protection of law and our protection of administration. Second point I want to mention, that the interim government's ban on the Awami League and its student wing not only through parliament, not only through proper process, but through the executive order. That gave the universities, necessary spices, necessary impetus to justify their collective punishment. So they got this open blanket, it has been, they belong to the banned student wing, so we have every right to take any kind of action, whatever we like. Third point I want to mention, that the university inquiries themselves are flawed. Why? Because they are mostly vague. Secondly, the procedural ambiguity, opaqueness, and students were often denied fair hearing and representation. Importantly, you will note, and you will agree probably, that you see after the changeover, after the transformation, the whole administration of each and every universities, colleges, educational institutions were changed. And they have also particular political identity. When the whole administration is politically biased, when they form the committee, they have their own identity. And these committees, even though, for the sake of argument, if I hold that they will conduct some, show some kind of fairness, but given the political climate, this chaotic political climate, hardly any objective, acceptable, transparent, investigative, evidence-based investigation can be taken out. So what I see is a three-tier failure of the right to due process, right to life, right to education, right to dignity, right to fairness, right? Whatever right, fundamental freedom you mentioned, guaranteed by the Constitution, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, everything. And Saddam has rightly mentioned the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. So as a law academic, what I want to say that, well, if any particular identified evidence-based violation is sorted out, you can take action. But when it is a matter of, sweeping curtailment and suspension, and in order to benefit particular political ideology, and by not following the due process of law, certainly that can be questioned. So that is a matter of controversy. So this is a clear violation of international standard, and probably that will cast our future life, future education system. Look at the family environment of these thousands of students. Their future has been precarious. What disheartens me that our universities have not been able to demonstrate enough autonomy so as to foil the sordid political purpose of the government. So that is one of the area that the universities should act. And this kind of, if you read out all the notices, all the show cause notices, you will be very surprised to see the languages, its robustness, its vagueness, and the kind of language it has caused and posed, that they simply seems that are waiting not to be replied, and when they will be able to take action. So this is rather becoming punitive rather than becoming fair and accountable to the society.
Thank you, Billah. What you have described. It's really like kind of very good to know for the people within the country and outside the country. So I would actually like to come to Saddam again regarding the actions are being taken by the universities in the name of so-called disciplinary action. They are naming it disciplinary, not political. I would like to hear from you. What's your response in that regards? Thank you, Saddam.
No, thank you. This is that already Professor Dr. Billah mentioned all the things related with this matter: the legal violation, the administrative procedural violations, right to fair trials violations. Everything has been violated in these situations. So uh, actually, the undemocratic, unconstitutional government is using the educational institutions as a political tool to suppress the opposition, to stop your voice, to stop you from protesting, so that you cannot claim your rights. There is no basis of what are they are trying to say. There are wide-ranging suspension, that annulment of the certificates. Not only the students, actually, hundreds of teachers, actually, they cannot participate take part in the classes. They cannot go to the their departments, and also they cannot participate in the research works. And in some cases, the so-called student leaders, or you can call them mobsters, they dictated whether any teacher can come to the educational institutions or not. So it is not up to law. It is not up to any sort of investigation, not up to following any sort of legal benchmark. They are doing as per their wish. So it is actually a political persecution. It is actually, that you can call it a blatant violation of human rights, ignoring all sort of due process. And if you also look at the steps of the government, in the events of July, August, the government itself initiated and passed indemnity order by the Home Ministry. So in that case, also the government itself, they are denying the right to fair trial, and they are violating the fundamental principles of justice. Same thing happen in the educational institutions also, and it is also a rare cases, because there are the campuses of Bangladesh, they are not fully democratic. The campus democracy is always compromised. It is true. We have limitations. There may be limitations between interrelations between the students' organizations. These sort of things happened also previously, but this is rare cases. Maybe in our 50 years of independence, that the students' rights have been simply cancelled for his political beliefs. The right to education, right to go to the class, take part in the exams. That every political parties activist in the when Awami League was in power, they completed their education, they graduated from the university, and even they, that they arranged their protest movements in the university campuses. Bangladesh Students League was there. Bangladesh other students organizations are there who are now lecturing democracy in Bangladesh right now. They also took participate in the protest movement, in the student activism in Dhaka University campuses. But right now they banned Bangladesh Students League. Not only banning Bangladesh Students League politically, they also deprive the educational right of the activists of Bangladesh Students League. And not only the activists of Bangladesh Students League, who are somehow affiliated with Bangladesh Students League, who are maybe a hard supporter of Bangladesh Students League, or just have allegiance to the ideology of liberation war, just the university administration just make them unlawful. If you evaluate the case of Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, BUET, that more than 50 students studentship has been cancelled. And what is the crime? The crime is they are photographed with me in a that candid photo actually. So just for this reason, Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, they mentioned this cause in their investigative report also. Such an investigative report, they said this, and just for this reason, they canceled their studentship, and nobody completed their graduation or their semesters. What will we do? This is the thing. Bangladesh Students League will fight to restore democracy. Will fight in order to restore fundamental rights, to have a constitutional democracy, competitive democracy in Bangladesh. Because we do believe that if we cannot solve the problem in the national stage, the situation will remain the same, because we have a bigger fight to join. So we are focusing on that, so that the rule of law can be established, so that democracy can be established, so the power of the country can be given to the representatives of the people. We are maybe the activists of Bangladesh students, if they are sacrificing their educational rights, they cannot to participate in their campuses, but they are not actually. They are still fighting. They are so much courageous, visionary about the future, and I do believe that the activists of Bangladesh Students League for the greater cause of the nation, for upholding democracy, dignity, and human rights, they will fight back, and they will reclaim their educational rights, constitutional rights, political rights, and also I can assure that just not ensuring democracy in Bangladesh again. We are also, that when a student is admitted in any university, and after a regime change, after a toppling of the government, their studentship has been declared void. So the state, in future, the state must give him his right back, and also the losses, the economic losses, the educational losses, the mental, the situation he is going on. Everything must be repaid in a international standard, and we also ensure that. And we were responsible for these violations, because anyone can do politics, anyone can come go in power, anything, but the citizen rights must be maintained. And the current university administrations, I think they are also responsible, because they are depriving their students from their right. They are becoming simply a political tool of the fascist government. So they are also responsible, legally responsible. They are administratively responsible, and they will come under justice in future. They have to be. I think so.
Thank you, Saddam. You have mentioned some very good points, like the students who are being targeted now in the name of so-called disciplinary action. They're going through a very tough time. They are being harassed. They are losing a very important portion of their life in respect of time, and also they are going through a very like a very, very bad mental trauma, I would say. But here, I would like to go and also ask Mr. Billah again. While an university student who is an adult by age, can't they have their own like political opinion? Can universities ever be politically neutral? And what's your opinion that what should the interim government do, Mr. Billah?
Right. Before responding to your question, let me ask a counter question. Counter question not to particularly anybody, but to ourselves, to the whole audience. What is the greatest casualty of this July catastrophe? You can name many. But for me, as an academic, I comprehend that the greatest casualty of this July catastrophe, July protest, is the relationship between student and teachers. It has been foiled, destroyed. And once in a nation's life, the teacher-student relationship, the trust relationship, the relationship of confidence is destroyed, the whole nation is destroyed. So that will be a hollow, a decay, probably will take further decades to rebuild and reshape. That's the greatest casualty which has been done to our nationhood, to the psyche of our nationhood. This is number one. Secondly, I want to compliment or support one argument raised by Saddam about the way of reaching decision. I mean, if somebody commits crime, any student, irrespective of their political affiliation, be it Chhatra League, be it Chhatra Dal, be they belong to left political wings or Chhatra Shibir, whatever. As a teacher, as a part of the university, what I would expect is fairness, evidence. Without any evidence, without sufficiently providing right to opportunity of being heard, I cannot expel any student. So the point is, not only the university authorities should be made accountable in future for the actions they are doing now. And I'm pretty sure if it is challenged before the court of law, although the judicial culture has also been destroyed by now by Professor Asif Nazrul, if it is challenged in a constitutional court, in the High Court, I doubt every of the decisions, every of the expulsion decision will be declared null and void. Another point I have seen from myself, the university law, for example, the 1973 law, or for Jagannath, it is 2005 Jagannath University Act. For other universities, every universities, they have governing act. They have governing rules, regulations, bylaws, decisions by syndicate, etc. Right? They have given unfettered power to the university authority that does not define the punishment regime. So when more than 200 students, more than 400 students are being expelled, suspended, actually we are not knowing what is the magnitude of the offense, what is the commission of the offense, what is the extent, and for what part of the offense the alleged punishment is being inflicted. Once you cannot segregate it, once you cannot assign it, the whole decision is illegal. Am I clear? So now, coming to your question, that whether universities can be neutral or not. Well, it can be neutral, it cannot be neutral, because in the very idea of the university, one of the fundamental duties of the university is to make the nation politically aware of their history. Bangladesh is the only country in the whole world. Look at Dhaka University. Bangladesh has not created Dhaka University. Rather, Dhaka University has created Bangladesh. You cannot give me a single example in the history of the world that a university has actually mainly fundamentally contributed to the creation and emergence of a state. So how come you can say that a university will be apolitical? The university's role is to remain steadfast, is to remain impartial, is to play the role of the umpire. If any student political organization, they crosses their limit, it is their law, it is their practice that they should hold the rope and they should take action according to their law. But what the universities in Bangladesh are doing, they are looking at the advisors, they are looking at the education advisors, they are looking for their chair, that look, these Boishomya Birodhi Andolons or these BAMs or these Shibirs, they have gave their everything to reinstate us to be the VC, and we are being awarded now as being the, as a part of their safe exit, that I will be the ambassador to Bahrain, I will be the ambassador to London. That is a part of our plan, right? They will be thankful to the government. So once the university administration, look at Rajshahi University, look at the recent incident of Islamic University. I'm sorry, my hundreds of colleagues, they are being sacked out from their jobs. Is it acceptable? The students, well, if you have any particular allegations, you have evidence, take action, but provide them sufficient opportunity of being heard. But in general, you are showing cause, and without sufficiently hearing them, even there is no evidence, Saifur Rahman Mishu on the plate, on the table, that whether any response has been properly taken into account or not. And there is no reasoned decision. In administrative law, Saddam will know that in administrative law, we say reasoned decision. And whether any response, any evidence, any right to effectively represent myself of a student cause has been taken into consideration, and why not, that is not clear. So unless and until a decision is transparent, this is legally unacceptable. So to be very honest, I have no recommendations. What do I expect from the government? I don't expect, because this is an unconstitutional government. This is an illegal government. Even then, if you really seek my opinion, I will emphasize on 3 points. Number one, that must be every decision of the university must be independently audited by any disciplinary actions, whether that has been fairly concluded after July 2024 revolution. Secondly, the students must be reinstated who are innocent. They must be compensated if they suffer to their disadvantages. And a clear legal framework separating the academic disciplines from the political punishment must be ensured. So the interim governments often confuses this justice with cleansing. But when the universities are ruled by fear, they lost their moral authority. That saddens me. As a legal academic, that saddens me much. The government must now choose legality over loyalty if it wants lasting legitimacy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Billah. Nicely explained. Now, I would like to come to Saddam again regarding a very controversial topic. There are reports that Shibir cadres infiltrated BCL and committed violence in the name of BCL to ruin the reputation of the organization. What's your take on that? And also, what message do you have for your members now? Over to you, Saddam.
It is true that there are infiltrations in our organizations, and it is not actually allegation; it is proof and proved by Islamic Chhatra Shibir's other fundamental organizations, and it is a characteristics of these organizations actually, so that they can infiltrate with other organizations and try to fulfill their political ideological goals, and also branding their organizations in a bad way. So this is their agenda. This is their working techniques. And on the other hand, Bangladesh Student League is a open organizations. It is a people-centric organizations. The ownership of the organization is actually belong to the students. So it is true that infiltration has been happened, and they took advantage of the situation. And in also the cases of July, August, who are actively participated in the vandalism, who are actively participated in the campus violence. They were they are actually the activists of Islamic Chhatra Shibir and other fundamental organizations. So they use Bangladesh Students League, and I can say with confidence that Bangladesh Students League is not the only victim of infiltration. Other students organizations, whether it is Jatyodabadi Chhatra Dal, cultural organizations, journalism organizations, welfare students associations, infiltration is a technique of Islamic Chhatra Shibir actually. So it is actually violation of common belief, common faith, violation of that if you believe in a particular policy, you have every right to implement it, to campaign it, to organize the students above it. But whenever you are whenever you are infiltrating to other students organizations, so this is actually against civilizations, against democratic principles, mutual understanding among the students organizations. It is actually breaking the social fabric of politics or educational institutions, or in a broader sense, society. But we have to learn from our mistakes. We have to be, that far-sighted in the future endeavors of our organizations, so that infiltration can be totally stopped, and the admission process of our in our students organizations, it has to be modern. It has to be effective, so that we can prevent this sort of problem in future. And cultural movement, the cultural standard of our activists, this should be increased also by by approving this sort of political decisions, and also executing this, we can get rid of this problem. And by their own confessions regarding the July, August events, they say that they attack the students and give the blame to the Bangladesh Students League. That the Dhaka University, Dakshu, GS, some students are saying that Dakshu is not Dhaka University Central Students Union right now. It is Dhaka University Central Civil Union. Because they are doing their work like their mobster, like their moral police, like they're the authority of the the fundamental groups. They're doing the work like that. So Dakshu GS said that they were in the cases of July 14th of 2024. They said that they were ready to do this sort of work. They set up their cameras, they attack the students, captured the camera, and then make it viral, and just give the blame to the Bangladesh Students League. And there are incidents also, that the current VP of Dhaka University Central Students Union, or Shibir Union, that he tried to he tried to save his Islamic Chhatra Shibir members from the suspension list. So this is also a clear proof. And also, that the content one of the contender of Dakshu, Abdul Kader, he said it blatantly. He said it in an open way that in the university dormitories, they were in attacking mode. They attacked the students so that the common faith, belief uh, among the students towards our organizations can be challenged, can be threatened. Uh, so it is their agenda actually, and they executed it. And I think this is a wake-up call for Bangladesh Students League, also for Bangladesh Students League, every other progressive political student organizations, so that Islamic Chhatra Shibir's infiltration can be totally stopped in our future moves, future organizational decisions. And if we can do that, I think the environment of our student politics in the campuses will be developed, will be more the mutual understanding, mutual respect, and competitive democracy in the campus will be developed, I think.
Thank you, Saddam. Now we are at the very end of our program. I would like my co-host. I would like to request my co-host Jihan to give us some idea about how the student politics look like in the modern world and in Bangladesh, because we know you have done your study outside Bangladesh, and you have some experiences of student politics there as well. So please, Jihan.
So, thank you, Mr. Rahman, again. There is a trend that we have been seeing in Bangladesh to portray a dark picture about student politics. And by doing that, there has been an attempt to ban student politics on campuses. And their argument is that in the developed world, there is no student politics, but it is absolutely false. I have studied here in the United States, and there are student political organizations in all university campuses. We have student government associations where we have the student wings of Republican Party and Democratic Party that do politics and that talk about the rights of the students. So student politics does actually exist, even in the developed world. It is a very misconception of the people of Bangladesh that it does not. Because through politics, the students across the campus are represented, their rights are ensured, and academic environment is flourished. When you ban student politics in Bangladesh, what happens is the rise of fundamentalism. These infiltrators, under pseudonames, under various names, they infiltrate and promote extremism. We have seen such extremism in Buet and other institutions where they tried to ban student politics. So student politics must not be banned. It should thrive better. Thank you, Mr. Rahman.
Thank you, Jihan. I would like to add on. I would like to add on top of what you have said. Basically, what we have seen during last 16 years, there was a kind of demand by so-called Shibir in the name of general students, like student politics should be banned. But when they have toppled the previous government, actually the student politics were not banned. Now Chhatra Shibir is openly doing politics in all the campuses. Only the student organization which has given birth to this country is banned, which is a very very disturbing and sad for the nation. The country is going through the darkest chapter in the history since liberation. A university should be a mirror of truth, not a battlefield of vigilance. As the Yunus-led interim government redraws the lines of power, one truth remains: justice without fairness becomes another form of oppression. Bangladesh's young voices, the very ones who once carried the dream of freedom, are now being forced into silence. And when a nation's students are afraid to speak, its future begins to fade. Reform cannot thrive in fear. Accountability cannot be built on persecution. This isn't just about politics, it's about the soul of a generation. And history will remember not only who ruled, but who dared to question, even when silence felt safer. This was the persecution report for today. I am Saifur Rahman. Thank you, Saddam, Dr. Billah, and Jihan. And thank you, our audience, for listening and not for refusing to look away. Thank you.